Is the commodity market going berserk? We have so many influence currently for different groups of commodities. We have a closer look at gold and silver, of course, the energy market, and some grains. So what is wheat, for example, doing, and some others. So stick with me and have a closer look. Yeah, as I've mentioned before, we have a lot of influence currently into the markets, and many people are asking me, what are you expecting currently for the different market situation? Can we expect that the energy prices will soar any further, or is there a chance that the market will turn around a little bit? You might be surprised, so let's have a closer look at that at the very beginning and come over to many others as well. So starting with the energy market, starting with light sweet crude, or others say WTI market, which is the American crude oil market. CL is the future contract. Some are trading QM, which is the mini contract on this. You can choose whatever you like. Some people, depending on the country you're living, may choose or pick some kind of a CFD or other contracts you may trade. The situation might be most of it the same, like I've mentioned here before. So crude oil came down in the last few days. You can see from 23rd of March here to the very end. And even in this very moment, you can see the market is coming up a little bit, but in a really corrective manner. So it seems, to be honest, it seems that this is not the best situation to buy the market, at least when the market is breaking through these intermediate lows here. For example, this one, so people may use this one. I bring it up a little bit so it's a little bit bigger for you. It is roughly 95.60 or a little bit less, 95.25, something around these levels. These levels are also leaving the trend channel, the bull market trend channel we have here, and would indicate that this is merely something like a corrective pattern, and the market is continuing the down move we've seen before. It seems to be a 5-wave pattern, something like this. So we may expect even a strong movement even further than this. However, how does this fit into the bigger picture here in the 4-hourly chart? You can see that we have this down movement here in the 4-hourly. And this pattern I've drawn here, it is just this part here. So this is not the first movement to the downside. We have been in a bear market for a longer time already, which is giving me a little bit of unsecureness about the target. How far can we expect will the market move? Of course, we have some kind of a support here from mid of March, and currently we rebound here, and we had a rebound. The market came up, but on the other side, when pinching through this market, when this is a level is pierced here, which is from 15th of March, roughly 93 and a little bit, you can expect that the market will continue. So shall we sell short? Generally spoken, yes, at least, and that's really important, when the market is breaking these levels, these intermediate levels, which is justifying that this is something like a corrective pattern. Short is the better side. But keep in mind, because of this overall pattern, we don't have a clear picture where the target is. It can be just a little bit below this point here. It can be even further. Something like an ABC pattern, which is with a, let's say, symmetrical movement, maybe roughly $80 per barrel. So these may be some targets for this one. If you're entering the market on a lower time frame, you have enough space to trade this. But keep in mind, after that, maybe a little bit higher than this level here, between 80 and 90 roughly, I would expect the market has a chance. It is not given. Don't overestimate this in this error here. This is not promised that this will happen, but around these levels, many market participants will think about, shall we turn around or shall we not? Of course, many people are asking me, how can you think that this decision, or whether the market is going up or down, is free of all the news coming up in the media currently about the war situation, the sanctions and things like this, and maybe the changing of the world because of maybe the US dollar is losing its weight as a petrodollar, for example. Yes, of course, this is influencing all the decisions, but all the decisions are leading to a price movement, which is typically in any way like a normal market situation. So it is not a special situation. Many people are saying, yeah, but this is really unique. We did not have this with the Ukrainian situation here. Yes, but we always have something which is really special. And this always is leading to a really typical price movement. So it is more or less that the market participants are reacting the same on good or bad news. But you can see currently the market participants, because of this one, and when breaking this level, they are not expecting something good. So this is leading them to sell the market. However, is this really doomed for lower prices? No, it is not. There is a chance that the market will continue, because on the really low time frame here, you should not overestimate this after the weekend, but you could see we still have a chance for higher prices. But if we have some higher prices here, we will not break this level anyway. So this pattern I was drawing here will not occur in any way anyway. So it is not expected to fall very low into this area here, because the market is not breaking this level here. So as long we are staying above these levels I've mentioned before, you should of course sell, not short the market in this picture. This may occur later on. Maybe if the market is doing something like this and continuing, you can of course do the same way again, because this is still corrective because of all these overlapping frames here. This is still indicating this would. It is just an idea what can happen. This would still indicate that the market participants are not overestimating bullish news. They are overestimating bearish news. So that's really, really important. It is not like knowing the future by the chart. This is only indicating what the market participants are guessing what is coming next, and how do they prepare to react on what is coming next. So please see this pattern reading as an indication whether you should prepare to go with many market participants and sell short at that moment, or wait a little bit until you have a clear picture again. What will happen if the market is doing something like this? If the market is doing something like this, which also can be the case in the near future, then wait for setbacks in this against this main trend, which is corrective pattern here. So you can see, okay, this is another pattern to continue for the bull side. But please keep in mind, after 5 wave, it's roughly the same like we've seen here. After 5 wave, expect some pause, some break. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. But this is also indicating buy when the market is breaking here. So currently, I'm a little bit more biased for the bearish side here. But I would not go short at that very moment. I definitely will wait until the market is breaking these levels, or if we have some more, these levels here, before entering the short side. But I don't know how far the market is going below this level. I think we have a good chance, because the market very often is piercing the old intermediate levels here, for example, and then turning around. So that's the reason why I'm not sure how deep the market will fall. It is more or less that the direction seems to be clear when the market is piercing these levels here. What is natural gas saying? Natural gas has a really exciting situation, because the market did pierce the old high here already. And this is a really typical thing, that from that point on, the market will have a breather. This does not necessarily mean that the market will fall to these levels here. But this is indicating that the market will have a good chance for some kind of a break here like this. If this movement to the down here is really in an ABC pattern, for example, or something in another corrective way. Corrective, you should always keep in mind, is back, forth, a lot of overlapping overlapping is a really good indication. It's not a proof, it is an indication for being the false direction. If you have something like a strong direction without anything like this, you can wait for some corrective pattern into the other direction and sell short at that point here. It is roughly the same in all of these corrective patterns we've seen here. Sometimes you cannot see this. We had a strong move here, we had a strong move down. I could not enter the bullish side here because the market did not give me something corrective here. But so what? The next chance, it might be a little bit clearer so that we get something like this and a shaky weight like this. So we knew, okay, it is more or less probable, the most probable direction that we should buy in this case. So, but in the very moment here, we see we have pierced this level here, and on lower time frames, it seems a little bit that the market is now coming down. This is not a full proof because this is a quite strong movement. If we have something like an ABC pattern here, you can think of selling short when the market is breaking through these levels here. So this is just the first part, which to be honest is not super strong. If you have a closer look at this part here, maybe in a 5-minute chart, you can see this is not really strong. I prefer to see something like this, or if not like this, if I have counter movements, I like to see that the counter movements have been separated, that there's a gap in between that. Not a course gap, of course, there might be a course, it's not like an overnight gap or something like this, but there need to be some strong movement between these. But you can see here in the middle, this is not the case. So what I see here is something, yeah, it might be a first thinking of going short, but not all market participants are super happy with this. Here you can see, for example, we had some counter movements and you can see they are all separated. So this is still the bullish side. So after a break, the market is continuing into the stronger side. Not very strong, not very long, but it is not the first movement. So you can expect a continuation, but with an unclear target. So if you enter the market somewhere here or wherever, you need, of course, to trail the stop to secure in case the market is turning. But it's never smart to buy at that highest points here. Typically, the market has something like a breather. And you could see here we had the same thing after this one. Piercing through this one, the market came down. After this one, the market came down. It does not necessarily mean, as I mentioned before, that the market is going here, but it is, I think, smarter to wait for something like a corrective pattern here. If so, bullish seems still the better direction, even when breaking this one. But if not, if the market is going strongly to the downside, don't do it. Try to sell short when the market is giving us something like this. So currently, I think if you are still long with natural gas, trail the stop a little bit tighter maybe, in case you don't want to see something like this and miss the opportunity to take profits closely. If you want to stay at the sideline and say, no, drops like these are not a big problem for me. It's the same like here, maybe like this, maybe like this. I don't think, if we see something like this, I would expect something even more drastically to the downside. So this is not what I expect, but something like a corrective pattern, like a typical, like this size, maybe even this size here. Or you can compare something like these sizes here we've seen before. You should expect this. If you want to survive this, you should keep your stop a little bit far away. If you don't want to survive this because you're afraid that this will happen, then you should should trail your stop quite closely, and you may re-enter the position. If you're a more active trader like I am, I like to take profits and take what I get, and I can reopen nearly the same idea again when the market is giving me something like this. And I'm quite happy in case the market is coming out with something like this. I would not be bothered about this because I took profit here anyway somewhere. So this is what I see here with the energy market currently. So it is not the perfect situation to enter natural gas at the very moment on the long side. selling short is something for a moment, might be okay, but I would not recommend to sell the market strongly. It is more something like an intermediate short-term position, maybe to see something like this, or maybe to see something like this. Not necessarily that time frame here, but you can see something like coming down a little bit would not surprise me very much, would be really typical. So what about gold? Gold is still in a position I cannot do anything, to be honest, because I'm not super convinced for both sides. What I've marked here is a really unclear situation. It seems to be corrective, but in either way. So this is not really convincing me to buy anything. You can see that we have a lot of overlapping in all time frames. You can see this in a bigger time frame, on a smaller time frame. You can see this is not really convincing. So if you are a long-term bull and you want to have physical gold, of course you can buy, because there's a chance that the market will continue to higher grounds. But from the price pattern, from what the market participants are currently doing, I don't see that the market participants are really willing to buy. They are wasting time. They are walking back and forth, sometimes strong into one direction, sometimes strong into the other, but not really strong. It's also more a three-wave pattern here. So this is a typical thing like, we don't know what to expect. What shall we do? I got a request on gold in the big picture. How can we read this one? I want to take away everything what we've seen here before, and this was a very low point here. And having the big picture in my view, some people are asking me, how can we see this pattern? Isn't this something roughly set like an in 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, whatever it is, maybe with this one, or maybe it's over already. It can be also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but whatever it is, maybe from here or one later, isn't this the fifth wave? So we should not expect something super high at this very moment, something only maybe a little bit similar to this level here. But as we have seen some strong movement here, it might be a little bit wiser to use something like a percentage here. This is 30% up. If you have from that lows 30% up, which this would lead us roughly to, let's do 2,200 roughly. It can be a little bit higher, can be a little bit low, but isn't this the typical picture we should expect? Yes, typically the fifth wave is something similar like this one. But there's still a chance for something like a very long fifth wave. So we want to see how long can 5 waves be. Can this be extended? And to have this one, we can also have commodities long-term rising price, for example. And if we see something like this, we can compare how long is the fifth wave compared to the first. And yes, typically it is roughly the same. Maybe even a little bit below if you have the midpoint of all this. If you don't know how to read this, I have an extra video for this, so maybe you may have a closer look at this one as well to understand how we read this. But you can also see there's still a chance it's double in length, 3 times in length, even 4 times and longer in length. Of course, probability is very low. It is not really typical, but it can happen. Some kind of a fifth wave extension, they may happen. And it might be the case here, but it is indeed not really typical. So it is not maybe super smart to say, I'm quite sure it is the extension now. Of course, some people see some good chances in the current geopolitical situation, in the situation we have in many different ways currently, that the gold price will rise to really high grounds. On the other side, we should not forget that currently interest rates are starting to rise or to be risen. They are risen already in the treasury market, for example, but also the central banks are rising the interest rates, and this is giving some kind of a competitor to gold, because some people are saying, yeah, gold is just costing me something. The others are giving me some kind of an interest rate. And we also have something like the crypto market, which is also taking away liquidity from the gold market. This does not necessarily mean that gold is not able to gain higher grounds, but this is meaning that there are some competitors, which some people are not aware in normal situation, which seemingly keep people from buying currently. So what we see here in the current market is that the people are questioning, shall we really buy this market or not? And it does not look like they are super convinced. This was a little bit different from what we've seen here early in February. This was a strong movement, but currently we don't have this one. And it would be a little bit more typical, at least, to see something like this again. So seeing this here again would give me a better feeling for a bull market, because this may give me an ABC pattern. And if the market is breaking this level, we can then enter the bull market at nearly the same price level, maybe a little bit lower than I've drawn it here, but maybe then, so we have more information that the market is really willing to turn around. You may have realized that I still have inside this one here, and an A, B, C at the beginning, and a 5-wave pattern here at the very end, which may lead us here once more to lower grounds here, which is really, really typical. Some people know this already. These are these flat patterns looking like this. It is an ABC down, an ABC to the up, and a 5-wave movement to the downside. And you can see this is a really typical one. If you have the commodity market, for example, you know that roughly 40% or nearly 50% of all corrective patterns are looking like this. So this is something we should keep in mind. I know many people are hating me for saying something like this because they feel offended. I'm not judging the market by myself or what I think or what I feel. I'm not interested in it. It's just statistics, and we should keep this in mind. I would not recommend to sell the market now and expect to reach this level. Why? Because currently the market is giving me no indication for this. So this is a typical waiting situation. Only in case the market is giving me strong movements to the downside and shaky to the upside, I would dare to sell short the market and wait for lower prices, at least a little bit lower prices, let's say halfway here in an ABC pattern here like this. Maybe we have some support here at that level as well, and something from symmetry, first part, second part, depends very much where the high point here will be. So currently I would keep my fingers out of the gold market, to be honest. Currently it's the same with silver. Silver is also not in best shape. Currently you can see that the market in the upside is really, really corrective like. You can see so much overlapping here, but you can also see downside is not really convincing as well. So I would wait here as well. I see a chance that when the market is breaking this level, which is the 24th of March, when the market is breaking this level roughly close below 26, will at least reach 27 and higher grounds. So if you want to enter that market here at that point here, it might be okay, but I would pick a lower time frame to enter the market, to be honest. So what shall we do? If not gold, what is better? What are the other precious metals? I have picked some of them just to give you an indication what the market here is doing. You can see Palladium, for example, here the Palladium future. You could see is also not in best shape. This one was a strong movement. ABC, something like-ish here to the downside, and not taking the opportunity at that point here, taking the opportunity here. But you can see if you have a closer look, this looks a little bit more like a 5-wave pattern without overlapping. You can see this was a counter move, this was a counter move, no overlapping. So you can see the market is not giving a clear picture as well, because this one, you would say, wow, strong, ABC, and I'm a buyer. But the market gave us so far a 5-wave pattern to the downside, so it's not really smart to buy. this market. Also, this market, Palladium, is giving me something like an opportunity to sell short, because if you have a closer look, you will see this is a 5-wave move to the downside, and this looks like an ABC pattern. In case the market is breaking through the 6th of April low, I see a chance that we have a continuation to lower grounds as well. Not necessarily exactly these levels, but you can expect that this will happen once more, so we can sell short the market, and in this case maybe we will even break this level here from early last in the end of last year, December last year. This might be the case, so keep this level here from 6th of April in mind when the market is breaking. In case the market is breaking this level here, we don't know this now, but in case, I would expect that there's far more to come. It seems from the pattern we've seen here. So overall, all the precious metals we've seen so far are not really convincing to buy. A little bit different is platinum. Platinum is also on the down move we've seen here, a little bit overlapping. So if I need to buy one of them, I would buy maybe platinum first. But to be honest, I would not do this from the current pattern. I would like to see something like a strong movement here up and a shaky to the downside. But we have seen at least the first part. If you see the 4-hourly chart, for example, you can, the first one, second, third, maybe fourth and fifth. So maybe this part is done halfway through. And in case the market is giving me something like this, it would give me a buying opportunity with platinum. So keep this in mind if you want to buy some of these precious metals. Copper also not really convincing. You can see this is what the bull market is doing currently. Well, I don't like seeing something like this. So if not the metals, what else shall we have a look at? And I have something which is not typically on my list, which is some kind of commodity you can eat. Precious metals you cannot eat, but currently many people have a look at the Ukraine and the Russian situation, especially and also for all the harvest with grain, with wheat and of course corn and others, sunflowers for example. And expect that the prices will rise here very, very much. There is some kind of fundamental background for this. The Ukrainian government asked for help here as well. They have 50 to 70% available for seeding, but this is not really much. So it is less than typically, and also something like exporting something for other countries, this will suffer maybe. So you can expect that we can have higher prices here in the near future. And what we see from the wheat future here is giving us exactly this picture, especially when the market is breaking this level here, which is the highest from mid of March or end of March, 22nd of March. When the market is breaking through this level here, I would expect that the market has opened the next door for higher grounds, 1400 and even above this level here. Currently, it is not super strong to the buy side here. If you see something like this is not convincing me at the very moment. So I would not buy definitely at that point. However, even now you have strong movements to the upside, weak to the downside. So if you want to be a buyer, I think it is the best chance, or if you want to buy or sell something like this, I think buying is a better chance here, because all these patterns we've seen here, also this one seems to be a little bit 5-wave-ish, also ABC to the downside. It can be a subwave here. So I think buying is the better side with wheat currently. And wheat is not the only one. Some other countries are more relying on soy, for example, and some people are saying, okay, if we don't have wheat, we need something other. And soybean oil, for example, here's the future of this, is giving us a picture-perfect situation currently. You could see here in the weekly chart, strong movement, and it definitely shaky movement to the downside and an entry point at that point. It's a little bit awkward here, but you can see at that point. And now on lower time frame here on a daily chart, we also see something. Some people are calling this a bull flag after a strong pole here to the upside, a strong movement to the upside, now shaky to the downside. So all the indications for these markets are leading higher currently. So if the market is breaking through these intermediate highs, this seems to be a better choice currently in spite of trading gold. I, of course, respect that. Some people say, yes, it's lovely to see that. It's a very nice eye training, but I don't want to buy grains because this is influencing the price and making situation more severe, especially for the poor countries. Yes, I respect this. I'm not asking you to trade this. It's just to understand how the market is working in all the different situations, and that currently money is flowing out maybe from the precious metals into these markets, not knowing that this will be the next expected movement. And also, if you're not with the soybean oil, if you want to check soybean by itself, you can see roughly the same situation here. Strong movement to the upside. This looks corrective like, and currently the market seems to move upwards again. So whether you trade the bean or the oil does not make any difference. The markets in grains is currently a bullish one. So at the very end, I've mentioned before, and some people are asking me about this as well, the Bitcoins, what can we expect from that? Of course, this is only one of the cryptocurrencies, but it's one famous. And I did not change anything from the drawing I've made weeks ago. And we should expect at that point, it was maybe around that time that I drew this one, that we have some kind of a resistance here. It came like this. So this currently is supporting the picture that we have a chance, be careful, a chance that the market really comes or will come down to 15,000. Are you ridiculous? Some people, I know that some people are reacting like this. I'm not killing the bull market with this. This is a typical reaction we've seen so many times before. I've mentioned this so many times, so I don't want to stress this once more again. So seeing levels like this is the same like here, and even before that. We've seen situations like this very often. Currently, at least, the market is not on the bullish side, and you can see that the shorter time frame is also supporting this picture. However, in case the market is breaking through this level here, we have an ABC, for example, I would at least for the moment would kill the bearish picture, because at that moment the bull side has won. But staying below this or even leaving this level here and giving us corrective patterns here will support the short picture here. So I would support currently the sell side more than the bullish side. I'm not on the buy side currently, especially if I see something like this. This is not super convincing. I would need to see some strong movements to the upside and an ABC pattern here to the downside to give me a better feeling on this one. So we've seen many charts now. I hope this is helping you a little bit. Some people are thinking that I want to give you an advice. You have to do this or you have to do that. No, that's not the case. I don't know what the future is bringing. What I know is that the market participants are reacting many times in the same way. So if you feel you want to trade one or the other market, you should keep in mind what is the typical price movement and what is this leading to. And this is something I wanted to show you in this video. In the hope this was helping you, I want to see you again maybe next week with the next overview. Next week it should be the stock market again. You know, this is always changing every week. And I hope you have a good time. See you soon. Bye-bye.